Okay, so we're starting this off. I'll just do it in the order that the cards came out. Started out with the Six of Cups, which is kind of this nostalgic pull to the past. There is kind of an emotional attachment to people, things, situations, places that are drawing out a response from you, maybe a triggered response, not necessarily for everyone, but because it's in the past with the Six of Cups, it might not be relevant for where you are today or where you're trying to get to. And this is a general read, so it's going to be different for everyone why it's no longer relevant. But the interesting kind of polarity, which is how I seem to be doing these readings, is that there's a pull here towards creating something new. The Magician is not the first card of the deck, but it's card number 1, right? So the first card is the Fool when you go on a journey. So this is after that journey, this is creating something new in your life, manifesting with the Magician. So if you think of magic, it's kind of like making something appear out of nowhere or making something happen that doesn't make sense, that seems impossible. And that's what you're able to do because you have all the tools. In the Magician, it's in here too, actually. There's the Pentacles, there's the Cups, there's the Swords, and there's the Fire. So you have all 4 elements. With these elements, you're able to create. And you're able to create in such a way where a lot of people might not believe where you came from. That's how I'm going to look at it. Where you came from, that you were able to change, or that you were able to make something happen that seemed impossible, either for your circumstances or for how people saw you, for how you saw yourself even. But because you have this within you, I'm guessing that you have this understanding of how you can create and what it is you need to do to make it happen. I wanted to kind of understand where these 2 cards meet, and I got the Knight of Cups. It's one of my favorite cards here because I actually feel like he's got like a very melancholy look. He, she, whatever, has a very melancholy look, and it feels like let's call it they are in a state of peace and contemplation, but it's actually, the word here that's chosen is creativity. It feels like through your emotions and through your feeling nature, feeling body, you can start to create. And when you're creating, you're tapping into the Magician energy. So the Magician doesn't have to be that you're an artist and you're creating artwork. It could be that. It could just be that you're moving house, or you're creating a relationship, or you're manifesting something into your life that wasn't there. The pull to the past is very strong, because you probably have, attachments or things that made you feel stable in the past, things that made sense to you in the past that no longer do. To be truthfully honest, these cards, they're from the Miracles Now Oracle deck. They're not making complete sense to me right now, but I'll try to see how. One says, I dish out compliments sincerely and liberally. The way I'm thinking of this, a lot of times when you say I dish out compliments, it could kind of come off as fake, right? Like you're trying to get some kind of outcome. You're playing out to someone else's needs or insecurities or something in order to get them to do something for you. It's like, it seems manipulative, but it says sincerely and liberally. So what that means to me is you're getting in flow. You are not holding back. You're not blocking out experience. When you sincerely feel something is beautiful or something is moving or something is connecting with your heart space, you take action on that. You express it, which would be the Knight of Cups, right? The Knight of Cups takes action based on their feeling, based on their heart. and liberally, meaning you're free with it. You're not kind of holding back. Sometimes no is the most loving response. So again, this is kind of a balancing act here of, this is actually feeling, well, it has nothing to do with what I was talking about before, but it kind of feels, it's starting to feel like the way people get to know each other when they're romantically kind of testing the waters with someone. It's like, yeah, you're going to flirt with them and dish out compliments, but then there's situations where you realize it's not the right match for you. I don't know why I'm saying this, but it feels like sometimes you have to put on the brakes and sometimes you can put on the gas. And you need to know how to like navigate those two responses. And that is somehow connected with you creating a new life for yourself and stepping away from things from the past. Okay, this is making sense to me now. Because it's right underneath the Six of Cups, which I already explained has to do with an emotional attachment to the past. That isn't always negative, but the way I'm reading it, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be read that way. It could also just be read that you have an emotional attachment to the past, and maybe through this emotional attachment, you're creating something new, but there is an idea here of creating something that didn't exist before. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're closing the door on something else in order to do that, but it does feel like the past has served its purpose and now you're creating something either through embracing the past and what happened or through rejecting it. It doesn't really matter. That's going to be different for everyone. But right underneath this Six of Cups card is sometimes no is the most loving response. Right underneath the Magician is I dish out compliments sincerely and liberally. So somehow in order to change your frequency, you need to start to connect with the things that are speaking to your heart and then take action from there. And I think that's like such a wonderful advice for like anyone who has some kind of creative block or they're just feeling stuck in their lives. Right underneath the deck, we have the Eight of Pentacles. So there's something about work, and putting in the work and using your skill set, right? Just like the Magician has all these tools on his belt, actually. I didn't even think about that. Like on his belt, he has a pentacle, he has a cup. I feel like the sun, well, it's not on his belt, but I feel like that's supposed to represent fire because I didn't find fire here. And then he has a sword. Oh, the wand. The wand is the fire and the sword is the air. That makes sense. So he's wielding the sword of truth, clarity, communication, and then the sword, and then the wand of fire, passion, inspiration, creativity. And then water would be his emotions. He's able to tap into his emotions in order to kind of feel out, sense out what it is that he wants or needs in any situation. And with pentacles, he's able to create something materialized, something practical, something that can be of use to him and others in this life. Really cool. So we're looking underneath the deck and underneath the cards, and I actually made sure to check to look them up before so that I knew what I was talking about. So this is Judgment. It's called Alchemy here. And with Judgment, you're having a resurrection. It's kind of like coming back to life. Like there was a death process, there was a loss, there was grief over something that happened in the past, possibly for some of you, and then there's a reawakening to life. There's turning into that butterfly and yeah, just like feeling in flow again, feeling connected again. There's the Hanged Man. Really cool how this is all kind of aligning, because I do feel like the Judgment with the Magician, you know, that's bringing you back to life, and then that emotional connection to the past is the Hanged Man. It's something that you're sacrificing. It's something that you're letting go, and it's called Flame of Surrender. So you're surrendering an aspect of self or an aspect of your life that no longer serves any purpose for you. Maybe you can use it for inspiration in your creativity and create a whole new world. But other than that, it feels like it's kind of done its job and you can move on. last card here. You're being called upon to look within, to explore the realms of self. This is the epic unwritten. It is now time. Movement number 11, which would be a 2. 11 is a master number. It's like a really spiritual, really special number. And 2 is all about unity, connection, cooperation, partnership, love. So I feel like through this period of time where you may be needing to kind of go within and to connect with yourself, it might feel awkward. You know, I was talking about like getting to know someone for the first time that you're romantically interested in and kind of trying to figure out, testing the waters, trying to figure out if it works between you two. And there's that awkward dance of like not really knowing how to bring things up, or not knowing how a person's going to feel or how they're going to respond. And this is the same awkward dance, but you're doing it with yourself. And so you're tapping into something here where you might not want to spend a lot of time on because it feels awkward, because it feels emotional, because it's bringing things up to the surface that you may have wanted to keep buried, or you may have not even realized were there. And that's why this is the epic unwritten. Like, that's why it's so epic, and that's why it's unwritten. It's kind of tapping into that magician quality, where you're able to create things that are laying dormant within you. You're able to bring them to the surface and create a new life. And like I said, it doesn't have to be creativity per se. Not everyone is like wanting to live a creative life, even though I do believe that our definition of creativity could be expanded upon, like, because creating a family, creating children, creating love, creating a job for yourself, like all of those things are creative. We just don't see them that way sometimes. So yeah, you can explore different ways in which you are creating your reality, and you're letting go of things that you were very attached to from the past, like some kind of security blanket that you felt there was a time in your life that you felt that you would never be able to let it go. And there is, with the sacrifice here, with the hangman, there is a feeling of like possible grief, or just kind of understanding, you know, that this is a time where you're going within and releasing parts of yourself and igniting other parts, and that there's going to be this huge alchemical process. Interestingly, the judgment card is called Alchemy. So there is this huge alchemical process where you're shifting your energy and picking and choosing parts of yourself that make sense, and that's actually a really beautiful process. So why don't I call this reading something like New Earth, or Welcoming the New Earth? Thank you for being here.